Welcome to School's Out 80s Comedy Story Time.
John, what's up, brother? It's Matt Starr from the Ace Frehley Band, and I'm glad you and Pete Walker from Black Crow Productions made it to our show in Texas. I hope you guys had a great time, and I want to give a shout out to all your viewers for School's Out 80s Comedy Story Time. I saw the last episode, and it was killer, and I want to wish you and Dawn all the best. Okay? Happy New Year. Bye.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to School's Out 80s Comedy Story Time. Got a really special guest today, coming to you all the way from Fort Worth, Texas. Jessica Spahn, say hello to everybody.
Woo! They're so excited. I know. I can tell. Hi, everybody. Meow.
Awesome. We're going to have some fun, hopefully make you guys laugh. We're going to tell some stories from the 80s, maybe some stories for more recent times. I mean, really, the whole goal here is to get everybody to kind of relax, lay back, kind of enjoy life a little bit, laugh, talk to each other, stop looking at your cell phone so much, unless you're watching our podcast.
On the cell phone, right? So
what's that?
This will probably be on some cell phones, though, right?
I know. We want you to watch it on your cell phone. So my faux pas.
But only that. Don't do anything else on your cell phone. Focus on the podcast before you, because it's going to be a meowsing.
Exactly. Most important, drive your damn car. Don't look at your phone while you're driving your car.
I didn't mean while they're driving.
Okay, it's all good.
You're hilarious. So let's jump in. So I was born in 81, so we'll see what part of the 80s I have memories left of.
It's all good. So when you were growing up, 81, MTV had just come out, I believe, in like 1980, 81, 82, right around there. So did your parents like prop you up against the TV and watch some MTV while you were a baby?
No, we were everything was censored for us.
Oh, really?
My sister and I were highly sheltered. In fact, it's kind of funny that I went and got my degree in film because I don't think I saw Ghostbusters until I was 20-something getting my degree in film.
Oh, wow. Okay. So did you ever watch any MTV live when it was still like in its prime?
No.
Oh,
I mean, yeah. I know. So I guess that's why maybe sometimes I feel like I relate a little bit to Gen Z, only because like I feel like I'm living these experiences now, like their experiences, and I didn't have as many media related experiences as a child. So but I struggle with the technology change that we had to go through, when we didn't have cell phones. Right. I remember having a pager. What was your first pager like? What color was it?
Oh, so you did have a pager?
Oh yeah, I had a little silver one. Yeah, I remember the little codes we used to put in, how we spelled hello with like 4, 3, 1, 1, 0, I guess.
So right? Why did you have a pager?
Why? Because there were no cell phones yet.
I mean, was that like so your parents could contact you when you're out and about?
Oh no, they didn't get it for me. So I started working at 15 at IHOP. I actually opened the IHOP on Beach and 820. So I always smelled like grease and cigarettes because they had a smoking section back then.
Nice.
But yeah, so I took my money and I spent it on very, very useful things like a pager. And then when cell phones came out, of course, I bought like 30 or so of the Nokia face covers so I could change it out when I was feeling a different mood.
Okay.
So my money went to CDs. So I was not the brightest as far as planning for my future back then, but I enjoyed the then.
There's a lot there with the pager.
Like, oh, I know, right? We used to have to pull over to find a cell phone.
Well,
I mean, mobile. What do you call it? Like I don't know what it's called. A payphone. Remember those days?
Oh yeah. And some of the kids that are watching, when you say pager, they'll have no idea what you're saying. Kids, you're going to have to Google it.
Same with payphone. They're like, what? A credit card goes in a slot? Nope. It was coins. We had to have coins on us.
All you're going to know is Superman jumped in a payphone thing. But but he couldn't jump into one of those that you just drive up to and you talk into. But anyway, so a pager. When I was a
Yes.
kid, having a pager before like everybody got a pager was like a badge of honor. If you had a pager, everybody tried to figure out like who you were. Like when you'd go to church and you'd see some guy with a pager on,
You're important.
yeah, we're like, oh, he's a doctor, he's a lawyer, he's a this, he's a that, she's a this, she's a that. You know, something like could really go wrong and they have to get a hold of him.
Oh, I know. And it was like, why would you want people to be able to get a hold of you all the time? And now it's like, how do I live if people can't get a hold of me all the time? I need to post my lunch on Instagram like immediately. I actually, what was I doing? I was at the gym or whatever, something recently, and I actually struggled with the urge to like take a picture and post it. And I was like, oh, calm down. Like I don't have to post not that I do post every
Yeah.
It's like it's like that's changed our brains. But to the lovely young people who are 20 something, I remember those days, and I don't know. It was kind of nice sometimes to not be on call all the time.
Oh yeah. So okay, so you have a pager. You're working at IHOP, and so is your pager mainly so like your friends can contact
Social life.
you? Yeah, you know what the parties are.
Okay.
Okay.
Or if you had a crush on a guy, you know, you give him your pager number.
Oh.
And because back then it was before cell phones, so all we had were landlines.
Yeah.
So you didn't want like someone to call your home. Your parents could answer, you know.
Oh yeah.
So you wanted to have the power, like, oh well, they want to talk. Well, then you call them, you know, and you know they'll answer. It's a whole different thing. I know I mentioned yesterday that I was talking with someone about how fun it would be for all you Gen Zers out there to take a handful of you guys, especially the ones who maybe even have TikTok, like successful influencer accounts. Well, I wouldn't want you to lose out on some of your income, but you know, just to take a group of the early 20s and put them out in a place, but like they have to live and everything's like the same as it was in the 90s, like set and all, either 90s or 80s.
Yeah.
Either way. So it'd have to be like late 80s, early 90s, I guess. And that's kind of what's trendy in fashion anyways right now. But it'd be really funny to like a case study to watch people who were raised with technology and never have known otherwise adapt and learn how to go through their day and reach out to the people, even in the same house, like how you communicate with each other. You can't just text, you know, because even when you're in the same room, sometimes you can you're texting somebody little jokes or whatever if you're in a meeting, but like you can't do any of that if you don't have the technology. So that'd be interesting. That was just a thought I had the other day.
You definitely have something there, Jessica, because I could just picture like one of these kids in my old family room from the 80s, and they'd be like this great big huge TV at the end of the room, and you didn't have a remote to turn it on. You had to actually get up out of the couch.
Going way back. Yeah. Are we talking the old school too, where it was like click, 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 click?
Oh yeah.
And you only had maybe, was it 10 channels ish? I mean, I know 13
you had
was
cable,
on there.
then you had 3 more.
Well, I don't know. We had a little black and white TV forever. And I remember I was so excited whenever they got the color TV because so I have a sister 1 year younger. So I'm the oldest of 2. But I acquired the television in my room and I thought it was like the coolest thing ever because I attached my Nintendo to it and I could play my Nintendo game and shoot the little birds, little fake birds with little fake guns, you know? I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
I think there was some running thing. I don't remember, like a mat. But it's just like, I was so excited, you know? Now everything we have is access to all of that, whether it's video game or whether it's streaming, our phones, our laptops, our iPads. Now there's probably not even a single room or even in your car ever that you can't access any of that.
Absolutely. Well, so one of the things I really like to talk about on this show is just like funny stories from school.
Okay.
So thinking back to like your high school years, maybe age 15, age 16, I imagine you went to high school in Fort Worth.
I think it was technically Fort Worth or Saginaw. I'm not sure.
Okay, like a suburb.
North Saginaw is just hard for me to say because I don't feel like that is congruent with my personality.
It's all good.
Like there were cows that like meandered around the campus because it was an open campus near fields. There's a lot of fields out there.
Yep.
So it's kind of amazing that I didn't become country, and my dating options were super limited as far as my personality style. Like I date like a, what do you call, like a wrangler, like a rodeo guy. Like no, he'd like, dip in his mouth. Gross.
So how many kids do you think were in your high school?
I don't remember. I just know we had like 400 or 500 in our class. I mean, in our graduation.
You graduated with like 500 people?
Yeah, it was a 4A high school.
Okay.
And I'd come from the private school background, so I had joined the public schools when I was a sophomore. So actually that was a nice transition. It was terrifying because I was put there in the middle of a year, so it was like actually trimesters, so I was kind of behind. So it was an adjustment, and I started marching band. I was in marching band. Actually, it was really fun, I thought, because private schools don't have those options most of the time. So that, and then I was a swimmer. So I was the only girl. Me and 4 guys launched the swim team back then that now exists.
Oh, wow.
So, and Pioneers was our mascot. So it's kind of ironic.
Okay, so you're in marching band. So what instrument did you play?
Clarinet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. I was like looking up stuff for this, and I found this like poster, like a big, like almost like a wrap that was like our band for one of the big competitions, and I almost brought it to show, but I was like, oh, it's glossy, it's bent, it's gonna look weird on camera.
Yeah.
Plus, you can't see who I don't even know which one I am on there. It's like all these little faces with little hats and the plumes.
Okay, it's all good.
So sexy.
It's all good. So okay, so you're a clarinet player, and so tell me like maybe a really funny story that happened when you're in high school.
Funny story from high school. I don't know if I have like I was really busy because I was working. Because by the time I was in high school, I was
Did you have anything funny happen when you were working? Because I worked in high school too.
Well, we just always had fun. I mean, since we would, and I don't know how legal this is, but we would get up on the roof, and like we'd have these like
of IHOP
water hose fights because I don't know, we could access that stuff if the manager.
So you get on the roof of IHOP?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh wow.
I think yeah, it was fireable offense, I'm sure. And I know we'd have whipped cream fights because we had access to that.
Yeah.
And then of course, when you're in the service industry, you have the towel snapping that welts for like weeks. But we were always having fun though. I mean, we worked really hard, and it was kind of cool too because like it was a lot of young people, because there were a few older people, and I felt a little bad for them because they were making what I was making, and I was 15.
It's all good.
I know, but yeah, so mostly younger, but it was kind of fun because it was like younger people from other schools. So like, you'd have a crush on somebody and they went to different school. That was always nice because you're stuck, because this was before technology. So we didn't have access to humans outside of our circles of, I don't know what you call it, like our social circles. Like, so if you're in a school, those are your choices. In a neighborhood, those are your choices for friends or for dating opportunities. And then work actually expanded that. Swimming expanded that because I swam club or USS, so that was like a year-round thing. And I had a lot of other. Nowadays, I don't think it matters as much, or people probably don't think about that, but we were stuck with those were our options. It's the only way you could make your friends, because we had to physically see the person.
Okay, so you're up on the roof at IHOP, and are you guys partying? You're like 15, 16?
Oh, no, we were good kids.
No.
But just like, I don't know, playing with water hose and doing dumb things. I know you were asking me about high school, and I was trying to think like what funny stuff. I have more memories of like when I was in elementary school, like I had this crush on this guy, I think. I don't know. He was just my nemesis. So I assume it's a crush, because if you're like fighting and you're like maybe 3rd grade or something, it's like that's supposedly maybe an attraction thing.
So were you sending him like notes and stuff? So he
no, we were fighting. So like, for example, like in the lunchroom one day, I had flicked applesauce like from on a spoon, and it had flown over and smacked him in the forehead in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And so then he had that "I'm gonna kill you" face. So afterwards, of course, we run to the playground and he's trying to kill me. And I think he really was actually. He had like some anger issues, but like looking back, I think that might have been like attempts at flirting. But then it was just funny because we became friends. We ran into each other when we were adults and we became friends, and we cross circles sometimes because he's an actor. And so we're in the same industry, but it's funny. I don't know how those like moments, I'm assuming it was flirting. I don't know. Either that or we both had anger
at the
issues.
beginning. I mean, you're paying attention to each other, even
Yeah.
though, like, you know,
We're wanting to get a reaction. I don't know. But looking back at that, that's actually kind of funny. And I thought, like, that'd be an interesting little short film to do where, like, it ends with the beginning. Like, they never, ever get together in life because of, like, one's married or what, like, each time they run into each other. But then the end, well, I guess spoiler alert, but who's going to actually see this and then know about the film they haven't even made yet? I'm thinking like at the nursing home, like cut to, you know, the old man and like all of a sudden applesauce hits him on the forehead and you hear laughter and it's her. And like they never got to be together in life, but they end their life together. I don't know. It just gave me an idea. I thought that'd be kind of fun and cheesy, you know?
Oh yeah, no, that's great. That's great.
But you know, life is where you get ideas. And like as a filmmaker and writer, that I just kind of pull from like just like, you know, you pull a thread of like a story. Like your life has all these threads. And you don't know where it's gonna go, and you start pulling at it and it kind of unfolds for you, and then you're like, and then you add to it.
Yeah.
Fictionalize it ish.
Yeah. No, it's all good. It's all good. Okay. So so you and this little guy, you get in a little squirmish. You think you might be flirting with him, so that's pretty funny. I'll tell you, like for me, anytime I ever dated a girl, it was because I either had to write a note to her or ask her for her number, which is terrifying for a guy. Like you're at the swimming pool, which is the worst place to try to get a number, because like think about it, you're at a swimming pool,
everything gets wet.
Well, not only that, like, is she carrying a piece of paper? Are you carrying a piece of paper? Do either of you have a pen?
If you want her number, you better be.
I know, but like I got my swimming suit on. And so like I'm going to the lifeguard office, grabbing a pen and a piece of paper. That's how hard it was back then, kids.
Yeah, you couldn't just like send them your contact, or I don't know. Is that what else they do now? I feel like I'm out of touch. I was just thinking the other day, like I need to hang out with some more 20-year-olds. They could just like immerse myself in their world, because I'm starting to see the difference. It's weird. Like even 10 years, like 10 years up, I noticed a lot of people don't even utilize necessarily Facebook except for to see things or from their family or kids or grown kids. And then 10 years down, they're not even on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's just weird because it's only, I mean, it's a 20-year span and I'm in the middle here. It's like 50-year-olds over here with the Facebook not even working with that. And then 30 over here. And Instagram's still utilized, I think. But I don't know. I need to get with it. This TikTok thing's a little intense. I think it's time consuming. I don't know. People are having a blast though with I need to check it out. Have you checked it out yet?
TikTok?
Yeah.
I have not.
We should though, I think. I mean, I don't know. I try to stay current.
No, you know, and I got a gal that does all my marketing for my stuff. I asked her about TikTok. She said to stay off TikTok for now and to stay on like LinkedIn and some of the others. But I'll tell you, like,
well, because what's your audience? I mean, it's not. I don't think it's Gen Z. Probably.
No, well,
like mine's not going to be on my podcast when I launch Gal on the Prowl. It's gonna be people in their like second phase of life, like post divorce or they're tired of their, you know, working for their employer and they want to launch a side hustle, or like, you know, they're just ready for change, you know, leveling up and stuff. So she said, so what'd you say? LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And so you use LinkedIn heavily?
Like LinkedIn, Facebook, you know, that kind of stuff.
Like, yeah, probably for your demographic, I guess.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out my demographic.
Well, I think it's always going to be evolving.
Yeah, absolutely.
Depends on your guest, right? And depends on your topic. So imagine if you had someone on who was a TikToker. I mean, well, they'd probably do the marketing for you in like a minute on their own page.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Or I don't know. Is it called a page? What is it called?
TikTok? I have no idea. Probably your TikTok account.
Account. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take it to college. So you're in college
Okay.
and you're studying to be a
Filmmaker.
filmmaker. Okay. So you had to have run into like some very interesting sorts of people that probably had a funny story there, I'm thinking.
College?
Yeah.
Well, for me, college was a span of 10 years.
Okay. That's okay.
I started in 99 with no idea what I wanted to do.
Yep.
And then I just kind of kept taking classes at random until I figured it out and finished. But yeah, 10 years is a long time. A lot of life happens between them. But yeah, I don't know. It's funny because I actually just connected one of my friends that I speak to every couple of years. I've known her since high school.
Okay.
And she wants to get together next weekend. And it was funny because I don't know. Because we also kind of transitioned. So like me and some of my close friends, we all went to University of North Texas.
Yeah.
In Denton, because it was local.
Mm-hmm.
So it was state cost or whatever. So we all went there. So we kind of took our little friend group up, kind of matured from high school to college, transitioned together over there. So, I mean, it was interesting, especially I think the dating portion in college was a whole different world. I know one of my friends she was 18 and she'd met a guy who was 26 and he was divorced. And I remember looking back at that time and thinking, that is shocking. Like that age difference is insane. What's wrong with this guy? But being 40, I will tell you, I've dated both up and down in age range.
Yep.
And the older you get, the less I don't want to say the less it matters, but you don't want to, I don't know. But I just remember looking back because at 18, I was like, there's something wrong with this guy, But of course, like I haven't dated 18-year-olds, just saying, to be clear.
No,
they need to be at least 21.
And you basically described a scene from Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh, yeah.
Because the little girl, she's like 16 years old and she's working in the pizza parlor and she's dating a guy that's like 22, 23 and he sells pens. And
well, that's illegal.
I know.
But at least hers was legal. But it just
maybe she was 17. I don't know.
I was like, there's something wrong with this guy. And then I think he's been like maybe divorced 2 more times. I don't know. But I don't know. When you're like brand new and like starting college, it's probably not the right time to date a divorcee who's like that percent of your life older. That's almost 50% of her life older. 8 years at 18, 40 something percent.
Yeah.
Older.
Yep.
So
yep.
I don't know. We had a bunch of like I rented a house with friends. So me, my friend, and then it was her boyfriend. We all rented a house on Little Elm, but it was on Lake Louisville.
Oh.
And
cool.
this is back when we rented the house for $750.
How many of it? What? How many were in the house?
3, me, her, and her boyfriend. So we all paid. We paid $250 each a month for rent, and we were on the lake. Like we.
How cool is that?
I know that would. I can't even. I don't think you can find a 1-bedroom apartment for that price anymore.
That's hilarious. So you guys are like the modern day Three's Company. Do you remember that with Jack Tripper?
I do. Yeah. It was like that.
Did you guys ever talk about that when you're living in those arrangements? I mean,
no, we were busy living life.
Yeah, it didn't even come up.
We had this huge living room that was like, it wasn't wooden floor. I almost think it was almost like a brick, but it wasn't like, it was like smooth. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
But it was like, so the floor was hard. So we had a wet bar. And it was it's a huge house. It had the step downs. It was a layered house too.
Yeah.
And so I just remember when we had moved in, we would like rollerblade around the living room, or because the floor was hard and it was fun.
You rollerblade around the living room?
Yeah, because we didn't have a lot of furniture. And I mean, I remember eating like a lot of breakfast because obviously that was like what I learned to cook from having my years at IHOP. But like the easiest meal for me was just like eggs, throw some bacon in and throw some cheese on top. And like, it's lunch, or like whatever time of day it is, it's dinner.
Right.
Ate a lot of breakfast mashups for meals.
Sure.
And then we always went to these places. There was one called the Groovy Mule in Denton, and they had a lot of bands out there. One of them was called Dolly Braid. Because I don't know if you know, Denton used to have They used to have a really big Fry Street festival. It was a
Yeah,
big
I've been to it.
festival. Yeah. Do they have? I know I was around when the pizza place burned down, and I know that
Oh,
changed a
yeah.
lot.
I know
So I
that
don't remember if
pizza
they came
place.
back with the festivals or no.
Yeah, there was a bar on Fry Street called the Library,
Okay.
and there was I think it was called the Flying Tomato in
Yes,
Denton.
yes, that was the pizza place.
Amazing pizza, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm
great
Italian.
pizza, and you could get a
I can
pitcher
let
of
people know if
beer
it was good
when you
pizza
were
or
like
not.
17, which was nice. So that because it was what burned down. I forget what burned down.
I don't know.
But
A buddy of mine went to North Texas. I didn't go to North Texas. Okay, so you guys are living in this house
mhm.
as a Threes Company group, and so did you guys have a lot of parties? I mean, you're right there on Lake Louisville.
We had some. I mean, because honestly, to go into Denton from there, it was like it was super rural. I mean, it was like literally a dirt or gravel road to get to that place at some point.
Oh, it's
So,
like all your friends are at North Texas.
so we'd have to go in. I
So
mean, they,
most of them didn't want to like leave college town to come all the way
because
that
then
way.
we'd just be going back that way. Or, I mean, the driving was dangerous, kind of like if they were
Very
drinking. Like,
dangerous.
there's dark roads, dirt roads. It was weird.
What
It
about
was
downtown
definitely
Dallas?
fun.
Did you guys go down to downtown Dallas?
No, not really.
No?
I don't know. For some reason, when we went to Denton, we just kind of stayed in that area for the little bit
I
of time
get
we
it.
were out there. I did work at a place called Old San Francisco Steakhouse.
Oh yeah, I know that
I was
very
not
well.
the girl on the swing, but that place was a blast.
Were you the girl on the swing?
No, I said I was not the girl on the swing.
Oh, okay.
I played on the swing when we were closed. I was afraid to get up that high and kick that bell. To people who don't know, there was this mirrored wall with this piano that was like the front, I guess, stage place basically, and there was this like red velvet swing that was like almost looked like 2 stories. I'm trying to think how long it was. And this
Huge.
girl,
That old San Francisco Steakhouse was huge.
it was huge. Yeah, I was a server there, so it was the first time I was selling alcohol because you had to be 18. So it was fun, but like I remember like she would swing all the way up. She'd have to kick this. She'd work up to it. It was this big thing. Everybody's watching. And then she'd kick this bell that was like hanging from the ceiling. And then she'd like twist around somehow and do like the other side and kick that
Yeah,
bell. And it was like a show. It was dinner and a show. It was really interesting. I really enjoyed being a part of that for the little bit of time I was there.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I've been like there were two steakhouses fairly close to each other. One was more family oriented, and then that one was like a nicer one with the lady on the swing.
It was also near all the strip clubs. So
It was.
I think it actually became a strip, when they shut down, I think a strip club bought it out.
I think you're right. So I'm trying to think though. There was another restaurant that had these really two long slides that kids could go down.
Oh,
Are
I
you
don't know.
familiar with that
Kids?
one?
I steered clear of working with places that had children.
Okay, I understand.
You make more money when you can serve alcohol if you're in
Right.
that industry.
That was a good restaurant though. I hadn't
Oh
thought
my
of that
God.
in years.
That Swiss cheese block, I would just like eat on that like during the day.
That's what I was thinking. Like
Remember
they
those
would bring,
things? They were huge.
yeah, the big cheese plate. They'd bring you the big
Mhm,
cheese plate, which is
mhm.
horrible
It
for
was
you.
like it was actually like a block of Swiss cheese that was like
Okay.
coated in a wax, like a
Oh,
red wax, if I remember the color.
yeah.
And they gave you like a shaver and you'd sit there and shave the cheese off.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I guess no one would probably want that nowadays because that's just like straight fat.
Right.
But like that was on your table.
Right. Okay. So I imagine you guys had some projects when you were in college, film projects.
Mhm.
There had to be something like that happen in those film projects. Oh, here's Dawn. It's all good. Welcome. Happy 2022.
Happy
Yes.
2022.
Hi, guys. Morning.
Good meowing.
So, sorry to interrupt, but what were you guys talking about?
Oh, we were talking about
yeah.
cheese blocks.
Yeah, we're talking about cheese blocks, kind of all over the place. So you got it. So Don, Jessica, when she was going to college, she was living in like a Threes Company type of situation. It was her and her girlfriend's boyfriend all in the same house, and the house was big enough that they could like do inline skating. In the living room.
Rollerblading is what the
Nice.
kids called it. And we had
Rollerblading.
hard
Yeah.
floors in the living room and a wet bar, so we had a lot of space. And what else? So yeah. Oh, and here's the shocker part that it was Wait, no, let's let you guess. How much do you think we paid a month for a house that's on Lake Louisville? Like the water was in our backyard, like grass to water.
Wow.
For a house like that, how much do you think we were paying a month in the year 2000?
Do you have an idea, Don? 20 some odd years ago.
2000, probably. I don't know, maybe 17 or 1800 bucks a month.
$750.
Oh no!
We literally each wrote a
That's
check
a
for
great deal.
$250 every month.
Oh my gosh!
I know. Can we like go back in time?
No doubt.
Right?
I think the neighbors hated it though because they had all. It looked like they had all torn down their homes and rebuilt. So this was an older home, and I think they hated it because then they've got 3 college kids living for so cheap, and they were all like, looks like they had rebuilt. One of the last houses standing. So it was a deal.
I bet. Did you guys get the cops call on you very often?
No, because I was telling him we used to go more into Denton, and because it was so rural with like dirt roads to get out there because it was like meandering out to the lake. Nice. It did take a while to go anywhere though, because it was like even getting out was just like if you get stuck behind a tractor or something. The house was cool, but the drive was not.
Right. Yeah. But I'm sure it was worth it, the trade-off.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you guys are like in the pocket because you're away from the college, and
yeah.
But you're really close to the college too, and you don't have to take a major freeway to get there. It doesn't sound like.
No, just a bunch of very slow back roads.
Yeah, yeah.
And we had to bring a cooler to go to Walmart for food. So
because it was such a long drive home.
It would melt. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was for sure. There was no. Okay, so we were talking about like I was saying how the Gen Z doesn't understand like what we went through when we even got pagers, how it was like all of a sudden you're available.
Oh my gosh.
And how before that you weren't. But like so I was saying that it'd be really fun to do like a reality show and like put a bunch of them in a house together and make it all 80s or 90s where they don't have the technology and they have to live like we lived. And they have to communicate.
Oh, that would actually be really cool.
And I would like it just maybe it's the sadistic part of me that like would just like be like, ha ha ha, y'all have to do what we did and it was hard. You don't have computers.
That would definitely make a great show.
Like what would they do? I don't know what they'd have to get like old.
They would be bored out of their freaking minds.
No, but it was
slumber parties.
You're welcome.
Okay, tell us about the pranks during a slumber party because being a guy, I never got to go.
I never went to sleep because no one would prank me if I was awake. Well, my friend growing up, my best friend, her mom was so much fun. For her birthday, she would like put these sheets up all over the house. You'd walk in and it would be like a tent. Like the whole thing was tented out, but it was like just sheets and like, so we just put our sleeping bags all over the floor and whatever. So it was like we're in a tent, but we're not. And there'd be, I don't know how many girls would be there. Maybe 10, 8.
A lot.
It feels like a lot, but yeah. And so we
like sardines, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And her mom would have us we did scavenger hunts. So we'd have to go knocking door to door in the night or whatever, not too late, obviously, but asking for, we're looking for this, we're looking for this, we're looking for this. I don't know. You couldn't probably do that now, but of course, TPing, which is taking toilet paper and throwing it all over the trees and making it just a mess. Well, nowadays people would yell at you for wasting, killing the environment, but it is the kind of ironic to take what was once a tree-ish, putting it back on a tree. Toilet paper, but we just had a blast, prank call, and you could, but then the big thing was when they figured out how to call back. Was it star 69?
Oh yeah, they implemented that feature.
What was the one where you
I think it was star 69 or star 32 or something. Yeah. When you prank
like all of a sudden we got in trouble because the mom of whoever would call back and be like, someone just prank called us from here, and it kind of ruined the prank calls. Because you'd call it, I don't know, it was just so much. Back then it was just a blast. And we do the truth or dare. What else did we do? It was just fun. That would be something
on each other or like
on
each other or like
for sure. I don't remember if it was
something.
Eggs or water balloons you'd put next to the people who were like
so
sleeping.
What pranks would you guys pull if somebody for the first person or second person that fell asleep?
Well, yeah, like, so that would be like what I was mentioning would be either eggs or water balloons. I think you put kind of near them so they roll over it and think like he was
Oh,
mentioning maybe wet their bed, they think, or something. We
yeah.
froze the
Oh yeah,
bras or whatever.
like you put
We
somebody's
froze
hand in
bras.
water and they accidentally wet themselves.
Oh, I don't know if we're not smart enough to do that or
No,
if
I
that
don't
was
think
too
girls would
mean.
do that kind of stuff.
Okay.
That was
Yeah,
more
like,
of a guy slumber party.
yeah, girls would just do like balloons or water balloons or egg. I probably water balloons. I don't know about eggs,
The
but
biggest thing for us was the girl's bra would get put in the freezer in water, and she would have to go and get it out before she'd go home in the morning. So it'd be kind of funny, you know, they're taking a big old chunk of ice with a bra in it home.
I mean, I think we used to draw on
Have
each
to
other's
explain that to
faces,
your parents, you know. So,
right? That, I never went to
but
sleep though. I was the last one. I would just stay up. I was just so
oh, me
excited
too. Or you
that I
would
could
get
eat.
drawn on.
Yeah,
They would
yeah, yeah.
draw
Oh
on
yeah.
you, on your face,
Mm-hmm.
and we'd be like a bunch of sardines, you know, in sleeping bags all over the floor.
Yep.
We used to go take off at night, you know, when everybody was asleep. We would sneak out, and when we weren't supposed to, and we would go, like you said, TPing or
Of
egging
course.
and stuff. And I remember one time me and a couple of my girlfriends were by ourselves. We had left the party and we were going, and there was this one girl that nobody liked because she was really stuck up. So we were egging the car, and one of the parents come running out and was like running after us. And they were like, "Is that so and so?" And we were like, "Oh shit!" You know, hopefully, like, you know, we didn't get caught or whatever. But I mean, nobody ever turned anybody in. I don't think in those days, you know, with the parents, they would just get a little pissed, but they wouldn't actually like go call the cops on you or nothing, you know, because it was like a common theme, you know. I mean, and you didn't even have to do slumber parties to be doing stuff like that. People would just get the, you know, nerve and say, "Let's go do this tonight," you know, acting crazy. You just have a couple girlfriends together or something like that. But those were definitely some fun times. They just, you know, I think my daughter, she's just turned 16, and she made a comment the other day about toilet paper in somebody's house. And I was like, well, I don't know if you guys all want to do that today. Somebody might come out and start shooting.
True. This is Texas.
I was like, but she brings it up all the time. Like, man, I mean, we hear stories and you tell me stories and we see movies. She was like, oh my God, that's like one of the things, like her and all her friends are just like, if we could do something, we would want to go back and grow up in the 80s, you know? I mean, they talk about it all the
Well,
time.
I'll
80s and
send them
early
there. I'll
90s.
do a reality show and stick them all in a house and make them live like
Let's
that.
do it. Hey, I'm in. I'll help you.
Let's
Hey,
do it. Let's find some
Jessica,
investors. Let's get a house together.
give
That
them
would
a
be
rotary
awesome.
phone.
I mean, seriously.
Give them a rotary phone and a newspaper, and tell them they have to go to the movies, and they'll all get on their phones, and their phones won't work.
Yeah, we can definitely think of some really good things to implement, because like that one, you know, like,
Yeah.
no internet. Yeah.
Oh yeah, make them relive what we had to live through. Because I look back and I don't know how we did it. Because like, well, I was mentioning about the pager earlier, because the use for that was if a guy was wanting to talk to you, he'd text you. So you need to call, because in that way, like, otherwise they'd call the house and all you had was a house line. I mean, sometimes the like richer, cooler kids had like their own phone line in their room, a separate phone number and everything.
Oh yeah, right.
But I wasn't cool like that. So we had one line, so the parents could pick. So
same here. We weren't rich enough to have two phones.
I know.
My parents didn't even have a phone. You know what I mean? In their bedroom, it was like there was. Remember the day when we finally upgraded to the cordless phones, and you'd have like, you know, one cordless phone, and you could walk around the house. Felt so cool at that, but you couldn't go outside,
right?
Because then you would lose connection and it would drop the call. And then it'd have the really like big antennas. Even the house phones had them. You know, it was like,
yes, you'd be like,
and it would like push in and pull out. You remember that feature? Well, wait here, let me pull out my antenna. You know, it's just crazy. But if you think about it, it was like that technology to us back then, you know, was probably like to our kids getting the Apple iPhones, you know, when they started kind of really elaborating on the phones and getting, more services and apps and stuff. It's kind of like but you didn't miss what you didn't know.
Exactly.
So back then it was like the coolest, greatest things. And now I think that they're just kind of running out of things to like really make jumps,
Right.
in certain things. So they're kind of like now it's like my daughter's like, oh, the iPhone 13 just came out. I'll think about it. Because it's like they're just coming out so rapidly with stuff that it's not as exciting anymore for them to do that, to get those things. But back then it was like we made like huge jumps in certain
computers,
things.
Right? AOL Messenger or whatever, and it'd be like,
right.
Hey, look at what we're doing today. This is like George Jetson, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
We are living
Jetson, right?
It's funny.
Remember watching that cartoon back then? You'd be like, "What? They're flying? Maybe one day we'll fly. Maybe one day we'll fly."
I'm sure Elon Musk will make that happen.
I think they probably already have some kind of technology that can do that, but and you know what? I think that we'll probably get there pretty soon because they're already selling airspace. So why would people be buying airspace if stuff like that didn't exist where you're going to have to own the airways? I mean, like literally, like we only own so much above our house. And once that's up for sale. So you could literally go out and buy airspace. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but then really scooters, maybe the scooters were like a test run for that. Those didn't do so well. Remember the scooters that were everywhere? If you're in a city,
yeah,
go downtown Dallas, they were like everywhere, and they were just like they never got returned. They were never recharged. I remember I got on one time. I tried it with some friends, and mine died on me. And then like you have to get it back to some weird space. We were out of the zone area, and the battery died on mine, and I had to like carry it. And those things are heavy, and so I've never done it since. And then it looks like I guess they're gone now. So
they are okay.
Those were I haven't seen. They definitely weren't what they used to be a couple years ago. They were all over the streets.
Okay, guys, I got a great topic.
I did not know they did that.
Mm-hmm. What?
Yep. Okay, so I got a great topic. Okay, funny cat stories from whenever. Any funny cat stories that you have? I have some, and I just think, like Don, you might not know Jessica's background, but she's a cat enthusiast.
So my alter ego's Instagram cat mom, paparazzi.
Is that a cat on your hat?
Yes, it's a pic. I created the hat. It's kind of my signature hat.
Nice.
Like I created some merchandise years ago to sell, and then I ended up keeping a few of these because this kind of ended up becoming my look. As I'm also a filmmaker,
I like it,
and an author, and so with the cat thing, I just wanted to do a film that's like best in show but cat related. So I started researching and going to all these cat events, and then I became part of that world, and so I MC at them. And actually, for the funny stories, though, and I don't know if you can add this in, John, but I can send you later like a clip,
sure,
or maybe on Dropbox. I'll try to find the original, whichever is easier for you if you can.
Yeah, any clip I can add.
Okay, because I have this clip from my first shoot where I did a short film with cats, and I hadn't done any work with cats before, and they're really hard to work with, and I had 4 on the set, and the set was my apartment. So it was a 2-bedroom, but it was pretty small. And I had my 3 cats as well. So there were 7 cats in the building at the same time. And they didn't know each other really at all before. So, and my 3 were like, ah. So one of them is a big Maine Coon show cat that I'm like, oh, it's great. It's going to be used to stuff like this, being on media or whatever, or being the center of attention. But so there's a scene where I'm like, I have my actress doing like a birthday party for her cat scene. Because I'm making fun of Instagram and what people do for their Instagram cat accounts. So she's like, happy birthday, really high pitch. And she's in its face and it's got a wall behind it. It's on a little, and it like starts to back its head up. And then it just goes, slaps her in the face. And I'm like, ah, because I'm in charge, and I'm like thinking liability. Thankfully she dodged her. Well, thankfully she had a lot of hair, and the way she did it kind of dodged most of it. And then I had to get in the middle and make the cat calm down. And ever since then, I've had someone, like, it's called a cat wrangler. I have someone on the set who focuses on the cats to keep them like not anxious and not where they're going to attack my talent. But that's a funny clip. I'm so glad that we were recording, at least since it happened. I'm glad we have it on camera.
Hey,
So
did the cats have to sign model disclosures so you could use their likeness in the films?
I had the owners sign releases. Yes.
So technically the cat, yeah.
I cover all my bases when I do shoots. I'm like, if anything could ever, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty much like, I'm like, sign this, sign this, sign this, sign this. And even with the cats, especially, I'm like, I have extra. In fact, I got in trouble on my last shoot. It was 2019. I was doing one I had a co-producer, and we had some talent who had representation. So they had agents, and that's
the
fine.
cats had agents.
Well, no, cats do have agents actually.
No,
But that was the problem.
but people aren't going to believe
I mean,
this.
I guess the popular ones, yeah.
Well, they do. Well, because like this one that did that, it has like they get like commercials. They're on commercials and they're on like cat food ads and stuff. So, but
they have like an entourage, like
cool.
the cat walks in and there's like all these hanger-oners.
Well, yeah, you got the owner, the cat wrangler, probably. I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing is I'm making fun of all that, but like in like a lighthearted, like this is funny, let's all laugh, but not in a mean way.
Aww.
But on the last one, so some of my actual human talent had agents, and I got in trouble because they can work for free, and that's fine. But I guess the releases that I had them sign, I had to go in and reward them because I was covering myself. Because there's cats involved, but with agents, I guess their priority is their talent. So my releases were too much of covering me, I guess. I had to go back in and make it where I would be less covered and they would be more covered, the talent, per the agent's request or email. So I didn't know that was going to happen, but I learn things every time I do a shoot. So
that's awesome.
Any other cat stories you went on?
Cat when I've had two stories with cats. So I had a cat. It looks like a Garfield cat, and her name was Golden Girl. I got another cat. It looked just like that one, and this one I named Mickey. But it was a Garfield cat. I actually named her Mickey Mouse because she acted like a mouse, and I was like, oh my gosh, boys are crazy. I'll tell you that.
That's interesting.
I got kind of a cat story. So when I was a kid, I used to study things a lot, and my neighbors had like 5 cats, and so I'd be in their living room over just to play or whatever when I was little, and I'm looking on the floor and I'm just watching these kittens / cats, what have you, and I'm just thinking to myself, these cats, they like have an imagination. Like, 1 minute they're just laying down, next minute they're play fighting something that's not there. And I'm like, what's going on here? And then they go from that to going under the couch where I'm sitting on the couch. And then the cat just comes through and grabs my leg, gets back, grabs my leg again, comes back over and over and over. And I'm like, what's up with this cat? And so like every time I look at him, and this isn't, I don't know, like I grew up around a lot of Vietnam vets, and I am you guys know this, I'm a huge veterans advocate, but I always thought that like they seemed like maybe they had gone through some turmoil in their young lives, and they needed to act out on it. I don't know. Right? It's like the aggression that these cats had towards me, who did nothing to them. What's that?
How old were they?
Some of them were kittens. Like the one that kept on going underneath the couch and grabbing my leg was just a kitten. And I remember complaining to my my neighbor, and I'm like, oh my God, your cat has just like scarred me for life. You know how little kids are. They're so dramatic. And she's like, John, all they did was put a dent in your tan. I'm like, okay, maybe that's, closer to the truth. But I just remember like watching them, like you'd give them a ball of string or a ball of yarn or whatever, and they'd just go to town. And conversely, like with dogs are very simplistic. You throw a ball, they bring the ball back. When they're done, they just lay in the corner and go to sleep, or lay by you and go to sleep. But cats, like they're all over the place. They're jumping from like, they're on the ground. Now they're on the couch. Now they're up on the armoire. They're like the creativity that a cat has, to me. Maybe that's why they made that play in New York called Cats. They're very eclectic.
Yeah, they keep you guessing, that's for sure. They're fun.
I didn't realize they had agents though. So if I ever have a cat on my show, they're going to have to sign an NDA. And
There, yeah,
Hey,
there's
maybe that
agents
could
for
be your
cats.
next guest.
and the use of their likeness on my show.
That's why I had the owners sign stuff, because I was like, I don't want to ever have anybody be like, and I changed my mind. I'll be like, sorry.
Oh,
I have it on, like, I
Yeah.
don't want any of my films to get derailed at some point because somebody changes their mind.
And-
So
and
yeah,
So have you ever had any cats that don't cooperate?
well, that one for sure. I mean, that was the beginning of the scene.
That particular-
I was terrified that we were gonna have to cancel that scene, and it was one of 4, and it was very important to have it in there. And we were on when you're doing a shoot, you've got a very tight schedule
Yeah.
to change things around with different sets and different actors coming at different times. And I was really nervous because I had, this is a very important scene because they literally sing happy birthday to the
Yeah.
cat. It's really funny. So like she's like the Instagrammer with her cat. She's doing a shoot for her cat's birthday, and her best friend comes by, and she's like, yeah, she's always been excited about cats' birthdays, and she's like, but now with social media, we get to watch it over and over again. I forget how she does it, but it's so funny because she's holding a plate with cake, her friend, and she's got a fork, and she's like, but now with social media, and she like breaks the fork, like kind of stressed. We get to watch it over and over again, like, because she's like dragged into the cat's birthday every year by her friend, and I don't know. It's funny. It did. That film actually did pretty well. There's a New York Cat Film Festival. They picked it up the year after that, and it went to 40 cities with the festival. So that
cool.
film did well. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just it's fun. It's challenging working with cats, but it's a blast because I like. And there's so much more cat content now. I mean, I just met some people,
Yeah.
the directors and producers of a film called Cat Daddies, and it's about men with cats. Like, it's fascinating. It's a documentary, and it's done really, really well. It came out to Dallas for the Dallas International Film Festival. It won, I think it won the audience award, or it won some award here, and then that was its world premiere, and then it's been in like 4 festivals already since then. And then I
Cool.
just
That's
saw
awesome.
something else. Yeah, there's something else. I mean, if you see like Netflix had Cat People, which was a docu-series. Acro Cats was one of the highlighted ones, which is like a cat circus. And they're actually going to be in Dallas February 15th and 16th
Really?
at the Texas Theater. Yeah, they're like a cat circus.
That's
so
cool.
they're fun. They're fun to watch, and it's a blast. I always go. I usually help with their like promotion. I'm not doing it this year, but I'm definitely going because they're just so much fun. And they were on the show on Netflix. So people who haven't seen, they can find them there. And Cat Daddies is not streaming anywhere yet because it's still in festivals. But I'm just excited because the more cat content that gets produced and succeeds just kind of paves the path for the film that I want to have someday, unless someone else beats me to it. Which, if they do, good for them. Maybe I was slacking a little bit too long. I don't know. We'll see. I wore Jinkos because I didn't really know my style, and I was like, when you're young, you don't know your identity, so you're like,
right,
maybe I'm a skater. Like, you hang out with skater people, and I'm like, no, my legs are way too long for Jinko jeans. They like look so dumb on me. You go through the angry phase. You're a little more. Your lipstick's like kind of a dark brown for a bit, and then you're back to like pink, and it's just like, I don't know, all those things. But I do have a funny story. I'll keep it brief. Related to
no, go ahead. No.
Well,
story.
I know we're kind of running long on time, but
it's all good because I'm going to edit anyway. Go for it.
Okay. Well, I met Steven Tyler. He was at North Park Mall in 2016, right before I shot Instagram Cat Mom, and I left my phone home for the day because I was with my family, and I was just like, on that note of like, detoxing. Sometimes I don't like to be able to be accessed at all times when I'm in the middle of a big project because you're so busy. And so it was a good thing though, because my sister and I were in Nordstrom at North Park Mall, and we're walking through, and my sister's like, she's like, that's Steven Tyler. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like that. Why would he be in Texas? That makes no sense.
Right.
And so I'm like, no. So I ignored her. And then people started gathering around him and taking selfies and stuff. I really thought, because he's short, I'm 5'11", and I don't know, he's shorter than me.
He's an Italian guy from Boston.
Huh?
He's an Italian guy from Boston.
Well, yeah. Well, but okay. So his hair is fantastic, And so I was like, I don't know. I said something. I was like, oh, it must suck to, be that famous where everybody's bothering me all the time. Because I kind of wanted to meet him. And my sister's like,
Yeah.
well, he knows what he signed up for. And I'm like, well, I don't know if he knew what he signed up for, but I was like, So I went up to him. I walked right through his entourage, and I went up to him with my little cat card because I was all about like meeting talent for potential cameos. If you don't have to go through an agent, it's just easier. Make an impression. So I go, "Are you a cat person?" And he goes, "I am a cat." Like, I started sweating. I lost my words. I was so okay until he did that to me because it shocked me. And then I'm just like, this is Steven Tyler. This is Aerosmith. I grew up with Aerosmith. Oh my God. I'm looking at his hair and his makeup and his pretty nails. And I'm just like, all of a sudden, super intimidated. And I'm like, I couldn't even function for a second. But he was really sweet. He talked to me for about 5 minutes, probably. He had a cat named
Aw.
Pika that had lived to be 17 or something. He told me some stories, but he was really sweet. And he asked me about the film because I was trying to mention the film, but I couldn't really explain it to him because I lost my focus. So my takeaway from that was like, get your pitch down so that like, no matter what happens, you can still get it out.
Yeah.
Because I lost it. Because I thought, like anybody in my head, as I've gone through these last 5 years after my divorce and I started doing more films and started my company and stuff, like anyone famous to me is a potential talent or cameo person or something. And it's really hard, in my opinion, to like go through all the channels. If you can just go straight to the source, make the connection, and then maybe you have to backtrack, but like at least you have an in already with the person. So I don't know. I just go up to people like that and think, well, what I don't want to miss an opportunity. But it's funny. 9 Lives, his album, my sister reminded me that he does that in his song, the 9 Lives song. He goes, I mean, it's like, but he did that to me. It was so freaky. But it was fun. And so my advice to people who run into famous people that they might want to have a conversation with, just have a conversation with them. You never know what's going to happen. And don't always.
Right. Yeah. No,
I didn't
you
have
never
my
know.
phone. I didn't take selfies. I had a conversation. Have a conversation.
Jessica, you have my
That's
cell
awesome.
phone, so you won't have to go through my agent. So it should work out perfectly.
True that. Exactly. Keep it simple. How's your followers?
awesome.
What are your followers like?
My followers
Right.
are awesome.
Are they? They're awesome people or awesome in numbers?
They're awesome in numbers.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Are they like Steven Tyler awesome?
It's hard to be Steven Tyler awesome.
I know, right?
But
I kind of hope that he'll remember that interaction because I doubt he has a lot of people come up to him and ask him that. Right?
yeah.
Right.
So-
Oh no,
I
I'm
met-
sure he does.
Ask
Oh,
him if he's
yeah.
a cat person?
Especially because the way he like meowed at you. I mean, I
Oh,
think he
right?
just,
Like it was
you know what
like,
I'm saying? Like how
yeah,
often do you do that in public? So he probably that one thing that he did is going to link that memory to him. You know what I mean? He's probably remembers you all the
hopefully.
time.
That's the goal. I mean, especially because I couldn't even
Yeah.
talk hardly after that.
But
Right.
that's normal.
Right.
That's real normal. When you meet a famous person like that to get tongue tied. I've had the same thing. I
That
met
is so
Dana
cool.
Carvey back in the day from Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
And he was a lot shorter than me because I'm 6'2". I think Dana is like maybe 5'9", maybe. And
Yeah, he's short.
when I got up close to him, this isn't funny per se. It's just kind of an observation. I was like, oh my God, this guy looks like he has stayed up till 4 a.m. like the majority of his life. Like, even though he was like maybe in his early 50s at the time when I met him, maybe he was like in his late 40s. I can't remember. It was it was 89 when I met Dana. And I looked at him and I was like, oh my, he was still on Saturday Night Live at the time. And I looked at him and I was like, oh my God, that like comedy is a tough thing. I mean, like you looked at his eyes and he wasn't that old yet, but he was like this, man. He was like, it was a good thing we were doing radio.
Was it comedy or lifestyle?
I don't know.
I'm sure it is,
Yeah.
when you're like, out like that around those types of people, that's their job. So they record and then they probably hang out a lot,
Right.
when they're on sets and stuff like that.
And if you're a stand-up comedian, the show doesn't stop when you get off.
Yeah.
Like,
and some people just don't age well.
I was saying that sounds exhausting. Like to have to always be on.
oh yeah, like I imagine like in Kansas City where I grew up, and I used to have a friend of mine that was a stand-up comedian, and so I think the last performer got off at 1, and then we all went over to the breakfast place and ate together, and they
Yeah.
continued to tell jokes. So we wouldn't go back to his apartment until 3 a.m. And so I imagine like Dana Carvey had spent the majority of his life, staying out until like 3 and 4 in the morning and sleeping
Oh,
during
I'm
the day.
sure.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
But kind of wild. But I got
Yeah.
tongue-tied too, so I get it. Okay, so this is the part of the show where we get to promote whatever we're promoting. And Jessica, you get to start because the guest always goes first. That's how I was taught.
Okay. Well, we just passed Christmas. Usually in December, my big push is The Christmas Kitten, which is my children's book, which you can find on Amazon. You can buy it any time of year. I just know that the big sales season usually is December. I'm actually launching a podcast myself this year. I'm not sure when exactly, but it's going to be called Gal on the Prowl. So keep a watch for that.
Nice.
It's going to be fun. I'm going to be talking about just on the hunt for opportunities, whether it's love or business or investments. I'm going to have guests on who are experts and maybe not experts. So just chat through things, So keep watching for that. And then I guess my website that we're going to put on here or whatever would be the main one to go for me is instagramcatmom.com. That has my multiple of my short films on it for people who just like funny cat movies, and it has my book. So
Awesome.
that's my promo.
Awesome. And we'll have all your signature and stuff for our guests, so they'll be able to, get in touch with you if they need to buy your book or what have you.
Yeah.
Dawn, go ahead. Tell everybody what you do.
Actually, I do a multitude of different things. I have a website that John will put up, that will give you access to contacting me for, whatever it is you need. I do fitness coaching. I have like a little bit of it's not my own clothing line, but I have clothing lines that I collaborate with. So I have links on there that help you kind of get access to discounted, like fitness wear and things like that through a line that I like to promote. Same with nutrition. I have a nutrition site or a nutrition company that I collaborate with. I also do real estate. I just got my real estate license here recently, but I've got 16 years in the mortgage business experience. So I do loan processing. So I'm actually looking for business in the real estate sector, clients and stuff like that, or companies to collaborate with. So I do a little bit of dabble in a little bit of different things.
Awesome. Jinx.
Okay, I'll go ahead and go. So my name is John Sales Warrior, and I have a book out on Amazon called Sales Warrior, and it's really a book on teaching people how to authentically sell and connect with people and promote their business, so on and so forth. I designed it primarily for somebody either brand new to business or brand new to sales, or somebody that just really wants to increase their acumen. So I'm kind of a motivational speaker and a sales guru. I've been professionally selling for 31 years. So I have the book out on Amazon. I also have a 2 master classes out on Teachable. And the one I'm promoting the most right now is a 3-day boot camp called Sales Warrior Boot Camp Module 1. And it's 3 days of sales training, video, audio, workbooks, so on and so forth. And right now I'm giving away my book for free. So my course is typically $400. I'm selling my book. I'm selling my course right now for $199 with a free book. And the idea is it's a 3-day boot camp. I know most people can't commit 3 days to learning, my wisdom, what have you. So I've broken it down into 30-minute to 1-hour actionable blocks of instruction that you can use. And then 2, like once you sign up for my stuff monthly, I send you more inspiration. So I'm all about inspiration, instruction, motivation, and awesomeness.
Inspiration. That's what I'm hearing.
Inspiration. And my website is just saleswarriorinspire.com. Wow, Jessica, awesome to have you on the show.
Whoop, whoop. Thanks for having me. We're gonna have to have me November sometime right before the book kind of comes back around.
Yes.
And I'll think a lot
yeah,
longer on the
great.
high school stories. Because I'm meeting with my friend next Saturday, so she'll probably have stories I forget. Like, I don't know. That was 20 years ago for me, and there's so much has happened, even in the last 5 years since I got divorced, that like my memories are really just recent seeming. Like, it's like even my marriage of 11 years feels like a whole like chunk of time that didn't exist almost. Like they're all boxed up, you know, like that. I have to access
Right.
that. I'll ask some people some questions before I join you guys again, and I'll have some funnier stories from that era.
It's all good. I'm sure it'll be perfect.
Perfect. Love it. Well, I'll let you guys go. Thank you for having
Absolutely.
me.
It was
Yeah.
great meeting you. You
Nice to meet
take
you.
care.
Bye.
So we'll sign off. So Jessica's going to sign off from Fort Worth. And Dawn, say goodbye to everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Dawn here from Dallas, Texas. Jessica's going to say goodbye to everybody from Fort Worth, Texas. Go ahead and say goodbye, Jessica.
Bye, Jessica. I'm just kidding. Bye.
Yeah. And from Dallas, Texas, cheers, everybody.